When 12-year-old Joseph O'Callaghan gets offered a job by a milkman, he couldn't be more excited.
By day, it's a normal milkman's work, but at night, the same crew turns very violent very quickly, and Joseph realises he's in over his head.
We're previewing The Witness in his own words.
That's on this episode of So Much Crime,
So Little Time. Welcome to So Much Crime, So Little Time. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Dee, and in this episode, we'll introduce you to The Witness from Yellow Path Productions.
If you haven't listened to The Witness, that is great. This is one of our preview episodes.
Here we only discuss episode 1 and introduce you to the series. No spoilers for what's to come.
You'll also find a link to The Witness in our show notes.
In our next episode, we will discuss the whole series, but right now, we just want to decide if this is a crime that is worth your very valuable time. Before we jump into this story, let's hop into that time machine. Jeff, this crime happened in Dublin. Dublin, Ireland, not to be confused with Dublin, California. It happened in 1997,
Yes.
some year for 1 year. And
What a
it's,
year. What a year.
What a year indeed.
You were there, right? You were in Dublin in 1997.
I was absolutely in Dublin in 1997. I think 1997 might have been the very first year that I left the country on an abroad holiday.
Wow. Where'd you go?
To Portugal.
Okay. All right. How far is Portugal from Ireland? Not that far, right?
Not that far.
Wait, is that like you'd never been to like England or?
No, not at that stage. I mean, again, I was the youngest of 5. Like,
Okay.
the boom didn't happen for a long time. Nobody was going anywhere.
Okay.
So-
All right. Okay, so I want to preface this by saying 1997 was an exciting year for me. That was the year I graduated from high school. And so when I looked up the top music of the year, and so we're not doing a specific date, we're just doing the year as a whole. So I just looked up the top songs of the year. And it's one of those times where it's like, I know every single song in the top, I don't know how many, as far as I went down. So I have some songs for you. And then I have some trivia for you that's not music related at all. It's Ireland related. That's just a couple of short questions. Actually, I think I want to start with that. Let me start with that. Okay. Let's start with trivia of what was going on in Ireland in 1997. I have 3 questions for you.
Okay.
These are fill in the blank questions, open-ended. Let's see how you do. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
How cognizant were you of the goings-on in Ireland in 1997?
I mean, I was 10.
Okay, let me start with
So-
one that you might relate to.
Okay.
On June 30th, 1997, an American hit TV show first debuted in Ireland on Network 2. What was it?
Friends?
No. Do you want a clue?
Yeah.
This show had been on in the United States for not quite, but nearly 10 years already at that point.
Cheers?
No. Do you want another clue?
Network 2.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is.
I mean, I know what it is.
Okay, what is it? I presume it's a network.
It's channel number 2
Here's another clue.
on the TV.
This show is still on the air in 2025.
Days of Our Lives?
That's a really interesting guess. It's not at all right or close.
Is it South Texas? Is it like like a it's whatever they call
I don't know
cowboy hats?
what you're saying. There's no Texas involved. I'll give you another clue.
Okay.
It's animated.
Oh, The Simpsons.
Yeah. The Simpsons debuted
Oh.
1997, June 30th.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah. You were like,
Oh
8
no,
or 9
hold
years
on
behind.
though. It was only it debuted on Network 2, or was that the first time it was being showed in Ireland?
the latter, according to my exhaustive research of 2 to 3 minutes. It seemed like this was a big deal that it was first broadcast in Ireland. I'm going to presume I'm right, and let's move on.
Okay, that's fair. We won't dwell on it, but also this was like every Sunday when my dad would say dinner is ready at 5:30 or 5:30, and it would be late, and we'd be like, but what about? And like we'd be gobbling up our dinner because inside you'd hear The Simpsons and we'd be like running in to watch it.
But did that start before or after?
I mean, it
You were
must have been after 97.
Okay. All right, let's move on. These get a little
Okay.
bit harder or easier. I don't know. I have no idea. January 17th, 1997. There was a very major event that happened for the first time in Ireland on that date. It's something that was first legalized a couple years before, but the first time it actually happened was January 17th, 1997.
Divorce?
Yes, the first divorce in Ireland. Got that one.
I love that it was legalised, but everyone was like, oh, but what will the parish priest think of it?
All right, last one. April 8th, 1997. Okay. An Irish author won the Pulitzer Prize. Who was that Irish author?
97.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maeve Binchy is the first one that came to mind.
Frank McCourt, Angela's Ashes.
Of course, yeah.
Okay.
That
All right.
made sense.
Let me do some songs. All right. I have 3 of the top Billboard Hot 100 songs for you. They are, I think, very easy. Let's see if you think so.
Okay.
First one. This was the number 1 song for the whole year. Best performing song. Let me give. Well, I have a few clues and then the lyrics. First clue. This was a double-sided single, so 2 A-sides. We're just going to talk about the one that was sort of the dominant one, although they're both big hits. It did hit number 1 in Ireland. In the United States, it debuted at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100, and its first week sales were 3.5 million copies of the single. In the United Kingdom, it was the fastest-selling single, selling 658,000 copies on its first day, and over 1.5 million in its first week. That's in the UK, where there's only so many people. In Canada, it spent 3 years in the top 20.
Cheapers.
And in the
Justin
United States,
Bieber. I'm joking because he obviously wasn't even born at this stage.
In the United States overall, it has sold 8.8 million physical copies, according to Nielsen SoundScan. So, kind of a big deal, this song. No guesses, I presume, off of that. Those aren't really super helpful clues.
No.
Let me get to the lyrics. And it starts. Opening lyrics. Goodbye.
Norma Jean. Candle in the Wind, Elton John. No?
Goodbye, England's Rose. Yes. Candle in the Wind, 97. The Princess Diana song. Yeah, Princess Diana died in 1997. This was Elton John's tribute. Yes. That's it. You got it off of one word. Pretty good. All right, let's go on to the next one. Number 2. This is the number 2 top song of the year for 1997 on the Billboard Hot 100. This song it hit number 1 in the US, number 2 in Canada, number 3 in Australia. Didn't chart in Ireland, to my knowledge, based on my exhaustive research of looking at the Wikipedia page for the song. Couple of reviews, or bits of reviews. Someplace called Cashbox said, this simple, charming pop ditty shows why this artist's star is rising at a meteoric rate with no sign of slowing down. It's a sweetly affecting, charming tune whose easy groove showcases her effortless, lovely voice. And the British magazine called Music Week gave it a 4 out of 5 and described it as an acoustic cross-fertilization of Tori Amos and Alanis Morissette.
Cross-fertilization is such a bizarre term to be using here.
All right. Lyrics?
Yeah.
I hear the clock. It's 6 a.m.
Oh. Give me one more. I know what this is.
I feel so far from where I've been. I got my eggs. I got my pancakes too. I got my maple syrup.
Is
Everything
this
but
Pink?
you. Nope.
Okay, hold on a sec. Oh, fuck's sake. I know this song. Go on, keep going.
I break the yolks and make a smiley face. I kind of like it in my brand new place.
Okay, stop. Kind of like it in my brand new place. Da-da-da-da-da. Put your keys in the door.
Oh, yeah. Don't leave my keys in the door. That's right. I never put wet towels on the floor anymore.
For so long.
Yeah.
Even after you're gone.
Uh-huh. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's the title. What's the next line?
You were meant for me. And
That's it. That's the title.
Was meant for you. Yeah.
You were meant
Okay.
for me. Who is that?
Is it? I don't know, because I feel like, I don't know, Sheryl Crow is coming to mind, but I think that's completely wrong.
That is wrong, but that is the right time period. I think that she's Sheryl Crow adjacent.
I don't know.
Jewel. It's Jewel.
Oh, I never would have got that.
Oh,
Sorry,
well,
Jill.
Didn't chart in Ireland. Okay, last one from this set.
What a tune, though.
Yeah, it's a great song. Number 3. This was the number 3 song for the year.
Yep.
This one did hit number 1 in Ireland. And Entertainment Weekly panned this song, gave it a D, and called it a, quote, maudlin tribute. But Record Mirror gave the song a 4 to 5 and said, quote, once again, blatant plundering from an 80s groove forms the basis for an instant pop rap crossover. Okay.
Is this by someone we don't like?
It might be.
Is this by Puff Daddy?
Yes, it is.
Is this the cover of Watching You? It's called I'll Be Missing You.
It is. It is I'll Be Missing You, cover of Every Breath You Take by The Police. Yes. And Faith Evans also on this track. Yeah, no lyrics even for that one. That's pretty good. All right, that was it. That was my game. That's what I got.
I love it. Okay, alrighty. So, Jeff, what we did hear about when we did our little snippet the last time was when we jump into this podcast, Witness, what we're going to hear about is the youngest ever person to enter the Witness program in Ireland. And I thought that was really interesting. And I thought instead of doing times or places or restaurants, I'm going to do kind of Guinness Book of World Records, but like crime adjacent, interesting facts. So that's what I'm going to give you. Fascinatingly, I'm going to start off with a fact that I stumbled upon because I thought, well, he was the youngest person to have gone in to witness protection. Who was the first? The first person was called Charles Bowden. Didn't think you'd know, but I'm going to tell you about it. And he went in after basically flipping to help convict some people who were involved in the murder of a journalist, Veronica Guerin. I think we've spoken about Veronica Guerin before on this podcast. Yeah. I wonder, Jeff, could you hazard a guess at the year that this happened?
The first
ever person in Ireland entering the witness protection program.
I mean, I have no sense of when this program started. I can just throw out a year.
Yep.
I'm going to say 1972.
Jesus, no. We didn't have our shit together by then to be doing any sort of stuff.
Okay, let me
like
get another
that.
guess. Another guess. Okay. So I was way off. It's a 19, right? Am I in the right century?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we weren't in charge before the 19s, unfortunately, so.
19. No, I mean, it wasn't like 2000. 1990.
No.
Am I
It was,
closer?
in fact, 97. 1997. It's kind of a trick question. I know. It was actually 1997 that this guy, Charles Bowden, turned into a state witness.
I was way off.
And
Okay.
entered that, which I thought was kind of fascinating that it happened the same year that we're looking at right now. All right. Okay, so I have 5 questions for you. I'm going to do a multiple choice.
Okay.
And well, I might give you the question and see what your ballpark is, and then I'll give you some multiple choices on them. Okay. That are all related to crime, and it's all about like the records of crime, like the most or whatever. So, are you ready?
I think so.
Okay. Tommy Johns is an Australian man. Okay. He holds the record for the most arrests. Okay, Guinness Book of
Okay.
World Records for the
So far, this
most
tracks.
arrests of
What we know of
any
Australia.
person. You don't know anything about Australia.
It's a nation of criminals. That's how it was founded.
It
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
and how are we describing the Italians and the Sicilians?
We're not talking about the Sicilians right now, but
I know, but I just want to say we're not going to call out the entire nation.
it's not their
Our
fault.
listeners.
To be clear, it's the fault of the British,
This is true. It's always the fault of the British.
mutual enemy of the Irish and the Americans.
No enemies.
Well,
Just a bit of light banter. It's not the people. It's the system.
former oppressors, colonizers.
Not the people. It's the system. Come here.
Sure.
Anyway, will you stop
Anyway.
getting off topic?
How many times was he arrested?
Yeah. Give me a ballpark.
I thought these were multiple choice.
I said
I
we
mean-
would start with a ballpark.
Okay, ballpark. How many times was he arrested? The person who was arrested. This is like the Guinness Book of World Records most arrests of any human being ever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. I'm gonna say north of 100. I'm gonna say 325.
Okay. I'm going to give you some like parameters here to guess in. Okay. So
Okay.
you're way off.
Am I
So
high
let's
or
say
low?
it's between 500
Oh geez.
and 1200 is option 1. Okay. Between 2000 and 2500 is option 2. Okay.
Okay.
Between 2500 or 2501 and 3000 is option C. And D is higher than 3000.
So I'm guessing that there's no like 3 strikes law or
No.
3,000 strikes law. And
They're like real sound.
those were
I
a
also
lot of options.
assume basically you're very wrong. Are we talking thousands, 1000s, 2000s, 3000s, like more than that?
I'm gonna say 3,000s.
Excellent. Good hustle. 3,000 times. An astonishing 3,000 times. Primarily for public intoxication and disorderly conduct. Which, like, the 3 strikes rule shouldn't really, like, be for that. I'd
mean-
say...
Who among us hasn't been arrested for public intoxication at least 1,000 times?
Indeed. How many times have you been arrested for public intoxication? Just out of interest.
Literally between 0 and 3,000 times.
Oh my God, same. Okay. Are you ready for our second one?
I am
Makes me
ready.
laugh so much. I love this one so very much. Okay. In this instance, we're going to talk about the world's longest standoff by someone with a particular object involved. It's very specific, okay? So I'm going to give you a list of the objects. So this is where the Guinness Book of World Records for this one comes in. So what object was used by a man in Brazil to hold a woman hostage for 10 hours during a police standoff? Okay.
Okay.
A wooden replica of a gun. B, a knife and a pair of scissors. C, a Sega Light Phaser video game controller. Or D, a fake grenade.
Well, okay. C is the funniest. I want it to be C.
It's also such a giveaway that they give you so much detail about it. Everything else is just a knife. And then it's like a Sega Light Phaser video game controller. And that is in fact correct. And it was in the 1980s. Police eventually convinced him to surrender and no one was actually harmed. Although I'm sure it was traumatic for the woman.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
Let's not gloss over that. Longest
No.
answer, correct answer. So often the
Indeed.
case.
Okay, we're going to talk right now about a man. A person. We're going to talk about a person named Lois Gibson,
Okay.
who holds the world record for helping to identify the most criminals. So helping detectives and police identifying the most criminals using what method? A, surveillance camera footage analysis. B, fingerprint analysis. C, composite sketches. D, voice recognition technology.
Okay, so none of these are very funny. These are all practical ways to do this. Okay, so wait, it was voice recognition, fingerprint analysis. What were the other two?
Composite sketches and surveillance camera footage analysis.
Mm. I'm going to throw out the voice one and the sketch. We've talked about sketches before. That would be interesting to bring to this. What would you do? What would you do? Let's go with sketches.
Ding, ding, ding. You are
Really?
right. Yeah, which is, terrifying in a way because
Bit dodgy.
we know about composite sketches.
Yeah.
So Lois Gibson was a forensic artist in Texas, holds the record for helping to identify over 1,300 criminals by creating composite sketches from witness descriptions.
Wow. That's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay,
I got it.
2 more.
Okay.
What record was set at the Carandiru prison in Brazil in 2000?
Okay.
Was it A, the largest prison break, B, the longest sentence ever handed out, C, the largest prison wedding, D, the most complex prison tunnel ever dug?
Oh, I want several of these to be true because they're interesting. Like the wedding and the tunnel are super interesting. The prison break, well, a tunnel would also be a prison break. Those seem redundant with each other. But I guess they're not necessarily because the tunnel alone, this is tricky. I'm going to throw out the sentence one. I don't think it can be that. That's the least interesting of the options. I'm going to say wedding doesn't fit. Like, why would there...
You really want to get this right.
Why would you bring up wedding unless that was the right answer? That's really the most bizarre one. Okay, let's go wedding.
The Carandiru prison in Brazil holds the record for the largest mass wedding in a prison system, where 120 inmates were married in a single ceremony in the year 2000.
Wait, 120 inmates in a single ceremony. What's going on there?
I don't know, Jeff.
Was there like a program or something? Like,
Carandiru prison mass wedding. I put in mass,
what a
but it's just like
strange
massacre.
record to hold.
Mm.
Really proud of myself right now.
Oh, sorry. They married their fiancés in a mass ceremony. Well,
Yeah, sure. Not
Yeah.
like each other. But okay.
we have like
All
the
right.
Guinness Book of World Records for each of these. The brides wore white, the grooms wore prison trousers, was a quote from the BBC about it, which seems like mean.
A little bit. But hey,
The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum heist is the largest property crime in U.S. history. Do you know about this?
I've been there.
Okay.
been to that
How did the
museum.
thieves gain entry?
It was something with a guard. They had a person on the inside, I think, didn't they?
Nope.
I don't know.
Did they
Wait,
bribe the security guards? Pose as police officers? Pretend they were part of a tour group? And hide until the museum closed?
those are my choices.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, bribe a security guard, pose as police officers. What was the last one?
Pretend to be part of a tour group and then hide until the museum closed.
I thought they bribed a guard. That's not right? No. Did they hide?
Sort of. They disguised themselves as police officers, tricked the museum's security guards into letting them in. resulting in the theft of 13 valuable works of art.
I should have known that. I have been to that museum. I know that story. We've talked about that story.
Anyway,
Oh man.
that
All right,
was
that's
that
a
was good. You did pretty well, and that was that.
I'm pretty proud of myself. All right. That was a fun time machine. That was our time machine
It
for
was.
today. Hey, Dee. So we were just talking about 1997 in Dublin, and you know what the problem with 1997 was?
What was the problem, Jeff?
Well, back in 1997, there's pretty much only dial-up internet, which means if you wanted to go to patreon.com/so-much-crime, so little time, it would take forever. And then someone might pick
So
up the
very long.
landline in your phone, and then they would disconnect you from the internet. And right in the middle of listening to outtakes or bonus content or early episodes, you'd be so upset. But the good news is it's not 1997 anymore. And you can go to patreon.com/so-much-crime, so little time and get all that stuff super fast, super reliable, plus a bunch of other stuff, including some fun swag. There's t-shirts and hats available on our Patreon. You get to chat with us, you get to support our show, and one other fun thing that people have been really checking out lately is we put updates on some of the stories we've covered in the past. So if you want to catch those, it's all on our Patreon. So patreon.com/so-much-crime, so little time. All right, Dee, let's talk about The Witness. So this podcast came out in 2021, originally came out in 2021. The host is really just the focus of the show, Joseph O'Callaghan. There are other voices on it, but it's mostly just him. Originally, there were 9 episodes, but 3 bonus episodes have come out since. The most recent came out in 2023, and each episode is between like 20-ish and 30-ish minutes long. But what was the story from episode 1?
So we hear from Joseph O'Callaghan. He's kind of retelling the story of his life. He grew up surrounded by the heroin epidemic. His mother went in and out of a few relationships with abusive men, which himself and his younger sister, witnessed. And at 12, they were upped and moved to Blanchardstown from Ballymun. So Ballymun being closer to the city, Blanchardstown being in the suburbs. When they moved to Blanchardstown, Joseph was bored, getting into fights, and even got suspended from school. And then one day, a milkman, Brian Kenny, shows up and offers him a job, which he takes. Seems to be going well. He's getting a couple of quid, a few bob, some money in his pocket for doing a normal milkman's job, going door to door and collecting money. But then once he gets involved with going around with Brian at night, things turn violent. And we're left at the end of episode 1 hearing Joseph O'Callaghan's retelling of the first time he realised he was kind of in over his head and Brian Kenny was seemingly into pretty bad things. So, Jeff, my first question for you about episode 1 is, did any of it make sense? Because I think this might be the first podcast we've ever done where I felt so at home. Like I got it all. I got all the kind of cultural context that was needed. I got the locations, even the idea of a milkman. Like I was like, oh, I wonder, like, was a milkman ever a thing here? Like, is that a uniquely Irish thing? Like the idea of someone knocking on the door and asking for money? Like even the going out overnight, was that a weird thing? Yeah, there was a lot. And there was some thick accents going on there as well. So
Yes.
tell
Yes,
me.
there were.
Tell me what you thought. So what questions can I clarify? What context can I provide to you?
I have lots of questions. Let's
Okay.
start. So this episode is called, I think, The Milkman.
Yeah.
When we say milkman, are we literally talking about a service that delivers milk?
Yes. So
Okay.
old school way, the milk would be dropped to your door at like, between, I don't know, 4:30 maybe in the morning and 6:30. So you'd go out and have gotten the milk bottles at your door.
Yeah.
And in our house, it was every Friday. Every estate had a different time or day. Friday evening, the milkman would call around with your bill for the week.
Okay. So I will say, when I lived in Colorado, which was more like farm country, Midwest adjacent, we had milk delivery at our house. And there was a milk person, I actually don't know, man or woman. And we had like a cooler on our front porch, and they would come and deliver milk in glass bottles. Sometimes you could also get cheese or butter, other dairy products. And that was felt incredibly antiquated, like something from like the 1950s. But it's because we lived so close to dairy farms.
Mm.
And that was like the early 20 teens when that was happening. But I feel like everyone I've told that to was like, are you 85 years old?
So we would have had a milkman before we left Ireland to come here.
Yeah. Yeah. So it happens in America. I think it's just in more like places closer to cows.
I mean, Ireland, like, you can't go very far without being close to a cow in Ireland.
Yeah, I think if you'd move to
places that are closer to cows. It's such a funny statement.
Well, how cow adjacent are you? How far at any given time right now are you from a cow?
Like where I'm here. It was one thing we noted when we moved here. I think at one point I was just like, Paul. Oh no, we were driving on a road trip and our kids saw cows or something out the window and they got all excited. And I was like, oh, we've been in America too long, because if we were in Ireland, you see so many cows. It wouldn't.
But that's regional. Like where I grew up in Wisconsin, it's the dairy state. Like that's their thing. And there's cows everywhere. Where we lived in Colorado, you knew it was going to snow because the winds would shift and you'd smell the manure. Like it would stink like cows, and that meant that like the wind was blowing from the other direction. So it's really just about where in America you are. You chose to live in a place in America that's not cow adjacent, I guess.
I never really, part of my research for moving over here didn't involve cows, shockingly enough.
Like, I don't know what you look at like the schools, you look at like the neighborhoods, you look at like walkability
Yeah, like
scales.
on niche.com, why don't they have like a little cow icon and tell you
like
your
1 to 5
proximity
cows.
to-
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so I did want to clarify that because I wasn't sure if it was like a metaphor, not a metaphor, literal
No.
milkman. Okay, great. Okay, I have other questions.
Okay.
These neighborhoods around the greater Dublin area, Blanchardstown,
Yeah.
and what was the first one?
Ballymun.
Ballymon.
Mhm.
Okay, and I presume these are economically different areas?
That's a really interesting question. I think
Not the right way to ask it.
No. I don't think it's not the right way to ask it. I want to give you a little bit of context on Ballymun and the flats, because he spoke a lot about the flats. He spoke a lot about the stairwells. He spoke a lot about the heroin, and like he was kind of describing something that I can visualize because I've seen it so much. The IKEA that eventually went up in Ireland went right beside the Ballymun flats.
Okay.
Like that's what it is. So I did a little bit of a, how can I concise this? Use.
I know IKEA.
Okay, not the Dublin one though. The
Have
Palo
not-
Alto one, slightly different.
I've been to the Palo
Palo
Alto
Alto
one.
one is slightly different to the Dublin one, Jeff. Okay. Right, the flats in Ballymun were built in the 1960s in Dublin to address like a larger housing crisis. And the idea behind it was going to be this utopia, like this suburban utopia. It was supposed to be like a social experiment. Basically, there was big high-rise blocks of flats in a time where concrete was like fashionable. So these are like blocks of concrete, big flats in a country that doesn't use high-rise. Like high-rise for us, like it doesn't exist really. But
Concrete, known for its aesthetic beauty.
indeed. And at one point it was used, like it was being used to be like, look how fabulous this is. It's like you can imagine, like, the avocado suite that people tried to bring in. Like, look at my green toilet. Isn't it so lovely? And you're like, no. Look at my carpet in my bathroom. You're like, no.
No.
Nobody understands. Okay. But basically, shockingly, there was poor planning involved. And what ended up happening was like a lot of the basics the basic facilities just weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
Community resources were nowhere. People were isolated. People were put into these flats. They were given them as kind of like social housing kind of vibe, which is
Yep.
not really something you guys have here, from what I know. Something we do have in Ireland.
I feel like the American was made like the projects.
Potentially.
Yeah. Okay.
And just like shove lots of people in there and be like, be happy because now you have somewhere to close the door and be fine. But what ended up happening was it was poorly planned. So people in 1964, I think people were in the inner city Dublin were cleared out during like slum clearances, which seems kind of, you know, we hear about these things still happening around in America anyway. And kind of given these like homes and kind of said like, well, now you go. Anyone who knows anything about planning now and like obviously hindsight and a bit more understanding realizes that that's not the way you do it.
Right.
You know, integration into society, like integration is makes way more sense than putting everyone who's like, you know, maybe from the like a low socioeconomic background into one place at one time. Like that's not going to lead well. Not having any of the facilities around, like it's not going to do well for people. It was really poorly planned. There was issue with like heating. There was a lot of stigma. People left because they couldn't buy the places. There was a whole issue. Anyway, what ended up happening was there was a lot of crime. There was just a lot of places were run down. There was no upkeep. Things broke, they weren't fixed, and that just became something that like built on until they were fully demolished, I think in 2004. For about a decade it took them to like demolish them and rebuild the whole thing. So there you go. That's the Ballymun Flats. So that's when he's talking about that, to me it's so like, because they were such a like, everyone knew about them.
So he moves at some point in his childhood from there to what's the other place? Blanchardstown. And that's like more suburban.
Yeah. It's like a commuter town nearly. So if you can imagine moving from like right beside the city to like further out. So a lot of the places might be like nicer in terms of the house, like the structure. But obviously there was a lot of loneliness there as well.
Right. And so he gets bored, he gets into these fights, and he gets suspended from school. And actually, this is a question I had for you, not so much as a person from Ireland, but as a teacher, former teacher. So how do you feel about the punishment for a kid who's bored and getting into fights being you just don't come to school for a bit, you go stay home?
Well, I think it was, obviously it was this suspension first of all, and then it was like you can never be on yard again.
Yeah.
Which is like, the child who has social issues and who is unable to play or like communicate with his peers, isolate him further. That will help.
Right. Yeah. How'd that work out?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So just to make sure, so in terms of what's happening here, and I did listen to this a couple times to try to both get some context clues, of which there were a few, and understand the accent, which wasn't that bad. It was, I feel like I could understand it, but there were a lot of terms that I just didn't have context for. What, and actually my first note was for the first 20 minutes or so, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. And this is also about the structure of this podcast, right? Like there's no introduction. There's no kind of zoomed out, here's what this story is about.
I know.
It just jumps you right in, and it's the person at the center of it talking about, I mean, that's in his own words. That's the subtitle, right? The witness in his own words. And it's in his own words, which I feel like we often talk about how much we love that sort of like primary source. And this is just sort of all in on that. What did you think of that as a style?
I really liked it. I thought it was very powerful. I couldn't believe it was only 30 minutes. Like I felt like he got a lot out, and it was just I really felt like that there was a picture being painted, but I can understand. And what I kind of appreciate, maybe after I listened, I sat back and I thought, Jesus, Jeff isn't going to understand a word of this. Like, even if you're understanding the accent, there's just too much in it that isn't explained. It's not a case of the Ballymun flats were in this area. This is a bit of history about it.
Yeah.
And then he says he moves to Blanchardstown. Anyone, the host or whatever, saying, like, Blanchardstown is, like, this far away, or heroin epidemic. Like, at the time in Ireland, heroin was everywhere. And drug dealers were everywhere. And they were targeting, you know, young kids. And likely, I mean, presumably what happened is someone in the school who was already working for your man, Kenny, figured out that your man, Joseph O'Callaghan, was like a hard lad who could stand up for himself, and he could run fast, and sent him over to his house later that day.
But what does that do, right? Okay, so I'm listening to this, and I don't have context for that. And so I'm trying to piece together what I can understand. And I do really like just hearing it from the person's own recollection and storytelling. Like, it forced me to focus on the things I did get, which were sort of, I mean, he had a pretty rough childhood. And I mean, in a lot of ways, right? Like, there was the abuse and sort of neglect, and then getting into these fights. I mean, the fight he described was sort of defending his sister, as I recall, right? Like, it wasn't like, and again, this is him telling the story, but from his perspective, he got into sort of a noble fight that led to this. And then he was so excited to get this job. So I feel like I focus more on the emotion behind the story, the tone, less on sort of the fine details.
Or maybe that's the point.
I think it is the point. And I think it's
like, care more.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, we've talked about other podcasts in the past where you're sort of like emotionally distant or removed because of the sort of artifice of the production. And this is so much on the other end of the spectrum.
I know. I wonder, will it continue?
I hope so. I really want it to. Because we've talked about this before, where the first episode is like that, and then it deviates. I would love for this to continue. It's hard to imagine
it wouldn't, though, because it is called in his own words. Like,
that's kind of this one's whole thing.
Yeah.
Right? I think you and I had very different experiences with this, but I did find it very transfixing. And even though I struggled to understand the references, I was sort of captivated by just hearing this man tell his story about his childhood. And that's also in the context, like, all I went in knowing was he's the youngest person to ever go into witness protection. But that statement alone, there's a lot of baggage in that. To go into witness protection, some bad things are going to happen to him. He's going to be involved with some very bad people at a very young age.
I mean, he was, what, 12?
He was 12, yeah, when this happened. So,
do you know what killed me here in this episode? There was so much that was very emotional. I think you're right. They really did lean into emotions. I hadn't really thought of, like, it from that perspective, but that's what I was feeling the whole way through. I was, like, feeling it more than, like, focusing on it, but I could also picture it. So it's just interesting to hear you describe like that. But what killed me was him saying his dad hated drugs, hated heroin. And you just wonder, the moving of the neighbourhoods is so interesting to me, because everyone knew everyone in Ballymun. Yeah. So his mum, and is it Neil or Niall, his mum's boyfriend, and even his dad would have known the gangsters and the thugs and the drug dealers and the people not to get involved with.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
And like, they didn't here. And this guy is a milkman. Like, he is going around to the posh estates. He's going around to Porterstown. He's going around to wherever. And he's going to, he's delivering milk. Do you know what I mean? Like, he is actually doing that. So there's this sense of...
I have a question about that. Sorry.
That's okay. There's this sense of getting involved in the community, which is what he was struggling with. And I can totally see why his mum and his mum's boyfriend were like, yes, like, this seems to be something that will be helpful for you to settle in here and helpful for us to settle in within the community. Whereas if they had been in Ballymun, they probably would have known. Right.
Okay, my question for you is, okay, so you're talking about how if he was still in that other neighborhood, like this maybe would
In
have been more.
Ballymun. Yeah, like they would have known. Because
But
they were embedded in the community. And he says that. He's like, if I went out and I caused trouble, by the time I got back up to my mum at the door, or my ma, I'd say he called her, she would have known. Like, I'd be killed when I got back up. So,
but am I missing any like context about like, oh, like there's an association with milkmen, or was there any way to sort of like so Brian Kenny is the milkman who shows up at his door. Like is the fact that is there any like context clues that I didn't get about how Joseph should have known what he was getting into?
well, not as a 12-year-old, no, at that stage.
Okay.
But no, I think
what
it's
about
hard.
being a 12-year-old getting recruited into this job? Like, is that unusual to your knowledge?
Did you ever do the paper run? You know, there was like paper boys who went around cycling, throwing the paper around.
Yeah, that's a job for like a 12-year-old, sure.
I
Is it
feel like
similar?
it's similar to that.
Okay.
That was not something that was Irish, the paper thing. I remember seeing it in The Simpsons and thinking it was hilarious.
How eager are you to keep listening to this? I presume pretty eager.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to hear like how things play out. I'm just so sad. I'm so sad for him already.
Yeah.
Like, what hope do you have if at 12 this is happening?
How like much of a kinship do you feel? I mean, you were what, 10 when he was 12? So
yeah.
similar age, similar. I mean, you were in Dublin. How far away were you from Blanchardstown?
At the time, actually probably far away, pretty far away. Now we've got like a motorway, like a freeway type thing that would connect us. So I don't know, maybe an hour.
And so you were not like adjacent to this. You were on another part.
No, I was on the south side, and this all happened on the north side. That's
okay.
how we would, yeah.
Okay. But you also had milkmen.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. So you weren't that. So your cow proximity relative.
We would have been closer, I think, than the Ballymun Flats to the cows, but Blanchardstown would be closest of all, I would think. Any cow experts out there? Let me know if I'm wrong on that. But back in 97, I reckon that was the case.
How far was like Una Linsky from this?
She was Meath, wasn't she?
That sounds right.
Dunshaughlin or something. That was like...
That's like farm country, isn't it?
Where she was, yeah. But again, it was at the time it was farm country. I'm sure like right now maybe... Oh no, because he went back and it was still... Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway. All right. Well, I'm eager to keep listening. I am really curious, both in terms of the story itself. I know it's going to be sad, but also the
I think that's the
this.
part that I'm eager to keep listening, but I do have this element of, you know, when you're going into a movie and you know it's going to be a sad one, like, you know, like the Titanic, you go in knowing that the boat is sinking, like
the boat's going to sink, yeah,
or the ship or whatever you want to call it. Like, it's not ending well for people, and obviously he's here to tell the tale. But when you're 12 and you're starting off with this being your story, like this is the start, this is episode 1. When you're 12, like, fucking hell.
Also, I'm really curious. So he's the youngest person ever to go into witness protection, but now he's telling this story. So he's not still in witness protection, I'm guessing. So what happened?
Yeah.
I don't know. I want to find out.
And that's what they say, isn't it? That they're about to get out. It says it in the description. It says, as the men he put away agitate for release, he tells his extraordinary life story in his own words for the first time.
Right, but what happened to him?
I know, yeah.
Yeah. Because some people go into witness protection and you never hear from them again, right? They just disappear.
Mm-hmm.
But here he is on a podcast talking about his story.
Very hard to disappear in Ireland. I'll tell you that. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to leave a comment on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. Let us know what you think about this opening this first episode. And if you were eager, in fact, to keep listening, and if you're listening along with us, please let us know. While you're there, don't forget to rate us. 5 stars is fantastic because it gets us out in front of more people the more 5 stars we get. So just, keep giving us 5 stars, lads. Really appreciate it. And while you're at it, tell some people, spread the word. So much crime, so little time. We're here so that you do not have to search for your favorite podcast. True crime podcast, we will bring it to you. We will not let you waste your time on shite. We'll tell you what the shite is, and we'll tell you what the good stuff is. Thank you.
Next time, how does Joseph O'Callaghan escape this life of crime?
And will Jeff get better at understanding the Irish accents? Ní ceapan.
What? We're recapping all of The Witness in his own words.
That's on the next So Much Crime.
So Little Time.
So Much Crime, So Little Time is a production of MimeGov Media. The executive producer is Paxton Calariso. Our associate producer is Blythe Ty. Theme music was composed by Vyacheslav Starostin. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to this show in your podcast app. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and a review. Even better, tell your friends. To join the discussion, look for us on social media. Check out the show notes for all the links. Thanks for listening.
What did you say?
What? I said ní ceapan.
I don't know.
It means I don't think so in Irish.
Great. All right.
We'd usually say ní fucking ceapan, but I wasn't going to say that.